Hello guys and welcome back to the Heroes of the Storm Road to BlizzCon qualifiers. I had your chat up still, sorry about that, buddy. I am Gillyweed. Joining me is not Anna Prosser, it is ShaneGoocher for the last series of the day. Shane?
The last, but it's a long road until the end of the actual qualifiers, though. So
that's true.
It's whoever wins this still has a couple other chances to get in here, but nonetheless, may the best team win. And I believe we're already into the draft.
We're already about done with the draft, apparently, as we will be on Cursed Hollow, and we've got Team Plato Some Tangos, Full Plato Some Tangos, and the Shuffle button as well. They were the ones to advance out of the last round. So far, Muradin, Jaina, Kael'thas, Zeratul, all banned out. We have Brightwing and Nubarak and Vala for Shuffle button. Plato has picked up Uther, Sylvanas, and Lost Vikings. Ooh, a lot of potential for push there from the Lost Vikings and Sylvanas.
Yeah, Lost Vikings slipping through to Plato. They were last time we saw them play against Flick of the Wrist. They were banned out on this map, so obviously this time around they're getting their hands. Or no, they weren't. They played it. Actually, I'm sorry. The enemy team played the Lost Vikings, so they weren't able to get their hands on them. So now we're going to see how they do. Obviously, Lost Vikings are effective on this map due to their ability to soak all three lanes if they choose to go down that path with that hero. That's one of the strengths that you can use them, and you can kind of do a little poke and soak game on top of the first tribute where you just effectively do your best to keep the enemy team off the tribute while they commit more resources to getting said tribute, and your Vikings soak the lanes, and that can give you a big advantage in the early game experience. It's a strategy that's tried and true and is really frustrating to deal with. Though Shuffle button, I'm sure, is an experienced team. They'll know how to handle it if that's what they're going to face, and a Zagara pickup is going to be the next one for Plato.
Dang, Plato showing their hand a lot, really wanting to focus on siege here, like you mentioned with the Vikings too. If they were to split them up, then they could even move around between lanes and pick up tower drops super fast as well. They will still probably pick up a warrior, but maybe they'll pick up Johanna, who with that knight takes pawn is also really good at wave clear as well. Shuffle button have their last two picks. They've already got a Nubarak and Brightwing, so it's possible that they're going to go for maybe even that Tyrael like we saw before, or some more damage there. What would you grab here?
I think another sort of bruiser type warrior would be really good, and Tyrael really comes to mind there, though. You want to talk about bruising people up. There's your Illidan. So what is up that? And a Rhaegar. So we have a double healer composition with an Illidan and a frontliner of a Nubarak. I actually like this draft a lot. Rhaegar and Illidan are always best buddies. They always coincide with each other. Rhaegar has that big burst healing that keeps Illidan in the team fights, which he needs so badly to clean those team fights up as one of his strengths. And then Brightwing behind it, giving not only supplemental heals, but giving him extra damage mitigation through Protective Shield if she goes that with her Pixie Dust ability as well. So this draft from Shuffle Button is all about the Illidan. He is going to be the really pivotal hero in these team fights. Now, as far as their laning phase goes, Shuffle Button have pretty static lanes. I guess they could roam within a Nubarak +1. That wouldn't be the most effective thing in the world, but Plato seen the Illidan pick up and immediately going with Johanna. She is so effective at dealing with melee assassins due to her skill set, and that's exactly what they're going to try to do to mitigate the Illidan.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and they definitely are going to be able to get a lot of structure damage if left unchecked. So when in that lane phase, Shuffle Button are really going to have to be aware of where everyone from Plato is, especially that Sylvanas. They have to answer that, and if Zagara and Sylvanas are together, even more so. Yeah,
so guys, we're just waiting for the lobby to form. Speak of the devil.
Yes.
There it goes. So, as far as looking at the draft as a whole on both sides of the coin with these teams, you nailed it, Gilly. Plato has amazing push. They have a good damage backline with the Zagara and Sylvanas. They aren't, they aren't assassins. They aren't built to do damage, but they do a significant damage nonetheless. Sylvanas can put up some great numbers depending on what build she goes and how effective she's going to be in these team fights. But looking at what Shuffle Button needs to do when it comes to the mid game, once Illidan hits level 10, gets Metamorphosis, gets level 13, able to tank it up a little bit with his double healers, He's going to be getting in the back, and I would say, Sylvanas is a pretty easy target. He's got to be careful about the Zagara. That Devouring Maw, if the Zagara is able to land a great Devouring Maw after he uses Metamorphosis, that effectively just completely negates the Metamorphosis and helps them turn around the team fight. So there's definitely going to be a lot of ebb and flow as far as who gets a better initiation, if Zagara is able to get a Devouring Maw off. Those are all very, very pivotal things that both these teams have to take in consideration.
Yeah, it really does come down to the Maw for Pool Plato because they've got Johanna, who is a great tanky tank, but not really known for having super great initiation. I mean, you've got kind of a Condemn where you can pull people in, maybe Uther would be right there to stun, and from there everyone could jump on that. But I think you're right, it will definitely come down to the Devouring Maw, and they've got a lot of potential for following that up. They could definitely Devouring Maw into the Wailing Arrow, have the bolt right nearby, Johanna to Condemn and pull them right back into that as well. Maybe even, if they chose to do so, a Divine Storm from Uther, but they would be giving up that sustainability with the Divine Shield for that.
They would. Divine Shield wouldn't be terrible in this situation. Because of that Illidan, it's such an effective tool dealing with Illidan. Illidan's Bane is hard CC. And what Plato has at their disposal is, of course, the Wailing Arrow, which is such a great tool dealing with that. If Sylvanas can get a good silence on the Illidan before he's able to do much of anything, they can really rip him apart, though. Something that Plato lacks is hard, reliable initiation. They have the Johanna with the shield toss, though that's a little small stun that can be mitigated fairly effectively, especially if Brightwing goes cleanse, the Rhaegar heals and whatnot. They're missing something like Ethereal Judgment or something along those lines to deal with that. The Wailing Arrow, it's great in team fights, but it has to have follow-up. If you land a 4-man Wailing Arrow, it means nothing if it doesn't translate into anything.
Right. That's definitely the case. We'll have to see if they can pull it off. They are in the blue. It's Pool Plato, some Tangos, with King Plato playing Zagara, B-Kid on Sylvanas, Mookie's once again playing Uther, Apollo on Johanna, and playing all 3 of the Lost Vikings is Prismaticism.
And on the right side of your map, we have the Vala. Going up to the top lane is Japuki. In the mid lane, we have Brightwing being played by Lejedster. Anubarak being played by IRay, Rhaegar being played by Mad Asian Brother, and then I am random, HGH, playing the Illidan.
What names we have here in this tournament, but we will go ahead and pull up the talents as it looks like. For now, Pool Plato is going to be looking at separating out the Vikings for soaking while they have very strong push coming out from the rest of the heroes. And what we'll see is they'll just try to take out towers and then rotate into the next lane and get towers too. You can see the potential for that siege. Yeah. They're already taking down this tower. We haven't even gotten to level 2 yet, not even to 1 minute into the game, and already a tower's down.
This is going to allow them to have such a strong early game, and they need to respond to this quicker. Rhaegar was coming up there, though they can't do anything. They're helpless to this push, and this is the push with the Lost Vikings. This is exactly what we were talking about, Gilly. How the Vikings are going to sit back in a safe position, and they're going to soak experience, while meanwhile top is getting pushed in. It's just such a powerful push with Zagara and Sylvanas.
Yeah, it definitely is, and with the great creep spread already by King Plato, they were able to know if anybody did try to come up and gank them. So it looks like instead of rotating, they might even be coming in trying to get a takedown on that Rhaegar. So far, not able to do so, but you're noticing the synergy between Mookie's and Apollo on that Johanna. Johanna drops the Condemn, and instantly whomever is pulled in is hit by the Hammer of Justice from Mookie's for a stun. So there definitely is the potential to take someone down off of that double stun.
Paula has to be careful. Uther's really low on mana. She has her combat trade up. She does use it accordingly. Though on the other side of the coin, Mad Asian Bro is also pretty low as well. Iray's going to have to hearth away and get himself back to base, lick his wounds, come back to the fight. There's a big standoff right here. Now, diving a fort at this early stage of the game, you can really get punished hard for that, though. The patience being displayed here by Plato is exceptional. They're not diving. They know they have the advantageous position. And oh, look at that. A beautiful stun of Rhaegar canceling the hearth. This might be the first blood, Gilly. It does go down with that Haunting Wave from Sylvanas. So that grants them the experience on the kill that allow them to push a little bit harder, a little bit stronger. And this fort is so very low.
It is. They did lose Johanna from that as Rhaegar went down as well. So it looks like for now we are going to see Pool Plato move back a little bit. I was interested in why we weren't really seeing, a rotation, switching the Vikings with these heroes. up on top so that they could maybe just go and pick up the towers in mid, but looks like they're really wanting to pick up that fort. Now I am random, just barely not able to pick up the tribute as Prismaticism does come in with the slingshot. Apollo trying to channel just a little bit, getting stopped by Jedster, who is so annoying as a support there. So now Apollo going to start taking a little bit of damage here. They do have the Illidan, who is blinded by the shield glare. Now we notice Zagara and Sylvanas, though, notably not here. And nobody is there to defend that push on the top because they're all here trying to deal with this tribute.
The proverbial soak and poke is going on right now for this first tribute, and there's a lot of contention over it. Johanna's real low, but she is a tanky woman, and she's going to be able to get out of there just fine, Gilly. And it looks like finally, Shuffle Button is going to be able to get themselves the first tribute out of the match, and I have to say that they're dealing with the Lost Vikings, the disadvantage that they're at from the get-go with the lane situation, fairly well. I mean, they lost the fort in the top lane as well as the top towers, and they're still only level behind. I know that seems like a lot, but it seems like that they should have so much more discrepancy between these two teams in the experience, but they're actually doing a decent job at keeping up with them, at least to the level where it's not getting out of hand like it can sometimes.
Yeah, they've sat Illidan and Brightwing in lane and sat really aggressively with both of them, trying to make sure that the Vikings can't get the amount of soak that they would like to in those lanes. So although there is the level advantage for Plato, both are level 7 here. Both have picked up those talents, and we see a cleanse on both sides now as both are respecting the power of each other's CC.
Second tribute spawning just north of the mid lane on Shuffle Button's position, and that particular tribute spawn is a very volatile position because it has so many chokeholds all around it. A lot of team fights can go so wrong for you if your positioning is just one step off. Down in the mid lane, though, once again, the pushing power displaying itself of the Sylvanas and the Scar, taking out another row of towers. They're still a level ahead, though the patience being displayed here from Shuffle Button. I can't tell if it's patience or indecision. We're going to see here in just a moment as Ire's very, very low. He does burrow charge out. The protective shield from Bright was going to keep him alive. It looked like he was going to go down to the Envenom from Sylvanas, but he's able to stay alive, and now we're seeing that Lost Viking factor starting to come into play here, Gilly, as the experience discrepancy is starting to get a little bit out of hand.
Yeah, they were allowed to just sit in top and bottom unchecked, while Shuffle Button were confused about what to deal with here. They did pick up those Siege Giants. Illidan, of course, is a very great person to have for Merkin. He can do it all by himself at a very early level, but unfortunately for them, they are still going to lose this fort, and now all of them are pretty low, too. Mika's looking to maybe get a Hammer of Justice. Will go ahead and back up. They're really content at this point to pick up that tower because it does give them their heroic abilities. He's looking at it. So, Divine Storm. You should
there it is. Is it?
He's still looking at it.
He's thinking. He's contemplating. He was listening to the cast, Gilly. He's like, that's a good idea. But look at, so the game that has been lost by Shuffle Button is, or the ground, did I say game? The ground that has been lost by Shuffle Button is that they're behind a heroic because of the Lost Viking factor. They tried to do as much damage as control as they could, but they simply weren't able to defend the push and also deal with the efficient lane soaking of the Lost Vikings. But on the other hand, they were able to get both of their tributes of these two tributes. So even though they're down a heroic right now and they know they can't team fight, it's not like they're going to have a curse on them all of a sudden. So if they're able to just bide their time and be Olaf going down there in the top lane, if they're able to bide their time, get level 10 for this next tribute, they could really get themselves in a good position. Yes, they're going to be down a level, but they're not down a talent here. Their heroics are up in Brightwing in the mid lane here, actually getting caught out of position and taken down.
So many slams, shield, of course, Blessed Shield, but on top, there will be a takedown on Zagara, so really we're 1 for 1, and in this case, where a tribute will be spawning soon, it's in favor a little bit of Shuffle Button as Brightwing can phase shift back in, but this will be a problem if Ray goes down, as they will not have their tank for this battle, and there we go, they will be able to pick up that takedown on a new Barak as well.
So that early fort, now that we're starting to transition a little bit into the mid-game talents, level 12 and 11 respectively, that early fort in the top lane has really allowed Plato to play a lot of zone control in this area of the boss, and the boss dictates the lane configuration in the early game. That's why we saw such a heavy push in the top lane. That's why they did it in that lane. They knew that they could gain ground there, they could take away the map vision and the avenue to the boss of Shuffle Button, and now this allows them to, they are going to get cursed here, but they're going to pick up an enemy boss. That's going to help deal with the curse, maybe push down a couple tier 2 towers. They're going to hearth away, defend, and they should be in a great position.
Yeah, no, we do have heroic abilities for Shuffle Button who are trying to go after this bottom golem with their curse, knowing that the lanes will be pushing, and that's what Pool Plato will be trying to deal with. So they're at the boss. They've got about halfway down, but Pool Plato does know that this is going to be a factor. They're on their way here. Can they take it down in time? Prismaticism already in there with two of the Vikings, so if they can't get it, a great Wailing Arrow comes in, silences Rhaegar, who will go down, will not be able to heal. Now, Anub'arak is also very low, still trying to stay in there, but will be down as well. And I'm Random is there, but no Rhaegar to be able to heal him up. He will go down, and this is going to be a boss steal from Pool Plato.
Well done by Pool Plato. They knew that their boss was getting taken from them, and they were able to go in there, land a phenomenal Wailing Arrow. And that is really what turned that fight there and allowed them to get that great initiation. And now they did have a curse fall under them, but the curse really isn't doing that much, Gilly. I mean, they lost some tier 1 towers in the bottom lane, mid lane's a little pushed out, top lane is still healthy as can be. But they didn't lose any forts, so they didn't lose that much ground. When you look at top lane, as I mentioned, that boss was able to get 2 tier 2 towers in the top lane. That's 650 experience each. And they are looking great now, right now. That curse did not phase them at all. They got a great team fight. We're able to get both bosses, and now they are slowly but surely taking away the map vision of Shuffle Button.
Yeah, they've even got some really great forward keep from King Plato. Sometimes when you see these Zagara players start to get in the later game, they kind of forget to drop creep because you're too involved with trying to make sure that you're not dying. But still throwing the creep, being able to notice when somebody would try to come in with a gank. But I don't think that we're going to see that from Shuffle Button because they're still dealing with this boss. They still need to get their level 13 talents. And this is where Pool Plato could possibly make something happen. So Shuffle Button has to be careful here.
Yeah, they're at a disadvantage when it comes to the talents. They're about to hit level 13 now, so Plato has to be careful. They are sitting on the Razor's Edge, but my lord, the Illidan just gets taken out. Once again, the Wailing Arrow really on point from Plato, and that is enabling them to just go dive underneath this keep right at the 10-minute mark. Vala is under a lot of pressure here. The Lost Viking Bow, can he get the kill? He can't. And he is going to be able to get away narrowly. Iray has to be careful. He's using the Locust Swarm. It's healing him up a little bit. But when your keep is under siege and there's nothing you can do about it, it is not a good position to be in. Level 16 is here for Plato. They're going to get themselves a keep and then some.
Man, that Devouring Maw picking up 2 of the members of Shuffle Button and then using Wailing Arrow on Rhaegar and Illidan enabled them to be able to pick them up. There was no Ancestral Heal there and even no Metamorphosis as well. It's just completely destroyed. But now the Metamorphosis is out. Will they be able to do anything with that? Oh, really fast Ancestral Heal means that Illidan is going to be melting. A little bit of a misplay there coming out from Mad Asian Bro. And now they're going to feel the pressure as Pool Plato was going to push up a little bit, but they are fairly low in resources, health and mana, so they're going to choose to back up here. They know that they've got a huge win there. They can even look to take some of the other battlefield objectives now.
So as I mentioned when we first got into the game, I was worried about the Wailing Arrow and not really having enough follow-up. As I mentioned, you can land a 4-man Wailing Arrow, but if there's no follow-up, it doesn't mean anything. Though the follow-up has been so on point, they've been able to just use it effectively. And with that Devouring Maw, as you mentioned, the Devouring Maw plus the Wailing Arrow is a great combination. They supplement each other so very well. And that has now twice won them a team fight, and they're feeling great. I mean, they were playing a little cocky underneath the core there for a bit. That could have gone Ari for them, but nonetheless, they're able to get out of there, lick their wounds, get themselves back on the map, and continue to just pressure all over the place.
I gotta ask you, what do you think about the Emerald Wind so far?
I understand the decision because of the double healer. We're going to see he needs to use it now because there was an initiation in the mid lane onto Rhaegar, though Rhaegar is going to be able to get himself away. Ancestral Healing is up, though. He wasn't going to use it a little bit early like he did last time. He was a little bit quick to pull the trigger, as you mentioned, Gilly. The Illidan was at full HP. I guess he thought he was going to get burst down, but it was a little bit premature. Nonetheless, the siege continues from the Zagara and Sylvanas draft that is just so very good. Pushing down these lanes. Level 16 advantage for Plato. They know they have the advantage. They've been continuing to push their advantage. Bottom lane is pushing out in the meantime. And they're just looking great right here, Gilly.
Apollo going to go in with a Condemn and a great strafe from Vala, already dealing a lot of damage. And Devouring Maw is going to pull away Anub'arak. Eric is down, but there is the Wailing Arrow. Brightwing gets melted from it. Ancestral Heal does go down on I'm Random, who is going to maybe be able to take out King Plato. No, a Divine Shield will be able to keep him up. And now it will be Illidan who goes down, followed closely by Rhaegar. So turning the fight, I really thought maybe that was their chance. They got Zagara so close to death. but it was Illidan eventually who did get taken down there, as well as Vala. Now they're actually going after this keep. I think they maybe could have skipped it and went straight into core. Will they go for core now, knowing that? I think they will. They've already got catapults on it, yeah.
I mean, the Lost Vikings can tank the core zone very well once they spread out. Vala is down for 20 seconds. Illidan isn't going to be up for 5 seconds. And yeah, there's the GG. So Plato taking the momentum from the 2-0 sweep they had over Flick of the Wrist in the last match and bringing it into Shufflebutt. And they played immaculately there, Gilly. Their execution was perfect. The Wailing Arrow and the Devouring Maw was such a great combination. The synergy between those two abilities. The Devouring Maw displacing and controlling the initiation from the Illidan. The immediately Wailing Arrow able to target him down before he's able to get away. Because Illidan, he's a slippery one, Gilly. He can be hard to lock down sometimes, especially with the support of 2 healers. But even with 2 healers on his back, the combination and execution coming out of Plato were able to get the job done and take him out in all of those team fights.
Yeah, well, Plato, although they were going up against a 2-healer with Illidan composition, they had the tools to deal with it by using that Wailing Arrow. They also had the Devouring Maw too to really zone out any of those abilities, and then from there really make sure that they were focusing him, always making sure that he was one of the first ones taken down in every single team fight. And that was exactly what they needed to do. So really great understanding of their team comp as well as their opponents coming out from Pool Plato.
I mean, sometimes you see Sylvanas use Wailing Arrow just on a one-man target specifically for the Illidan. Obviously, it's an AoE ability. The more people you hit it with, the better. But there's times where teams are going, that Illidan needs to go down. We need to take him down. And that's exactly was the focus. Like I said, anytime there's an Illidan on the map, he is such a pivotal hero. He either makes or breaks the team for whoever has him. And if that Illidan gets shut down, as we saw last game, that's the end result.
That was indeed. I really also felt like the Pool Plato did a really good job of realizing when they could start spreading out those Vikings to kind of get ahead around those heroic abilities at level 10 point.
Yeah.
They started to spread out, especially once they took that top fort down. They constantly had a Viking up there that made sure that they were soaking experience there, as well as made sure that the lane was pushed. So like you said, once they were able to take a favorable team engagement, they then were able to pick up that boss, and that's really where it started to skyrocket in their favor.
So let's see if they take that momentum into game number 2, Gilly.
Okay.
I mean, they are one map off of moving on for the road to BlizzCon, and I think they might be seeing a little light at the end of the tunnel if they continue to perform like that.
Yeah, that's definitely for sure. We're going to take a quick break while we set that game up, guys, and then when we come back, game 2. See you soon.